All right, thanks for jumping into Leveraged Online. Today, I'm excited to bring on our guest, Dan Shure. Dan, am I saying your last name right? Right.
Got it.
All right, beautiful. Yeah, I only know you as Dan on Twitter. so,
Yep.
yeah, it's been really great to just follow Dan over the years in the SEO world. I mean, he's been in this for quite
Over
a
10
while,
years. Yeah.
over 10 years. And it's been exciting to watch you and all that you're doing. You've been featured on a ton of different interviews, Ma's blog, EO on Fire with John Dumas, and just all over the place. So I just appreciate all that you've been putting out. And in fact, you've been doing some YouTube lives lately on Evolving SEO's YouTube channel. And
Yep.
that's your website. And that's just been really cool to just plug into and just listen to. So thanks for being on the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to jump right in. So really, I mean, there's two sides of stories right now. One is you have the pessimists who are like, it's going to be over, economy is collapsing, problems will exist forever. And then you have the optimists that are like, just smile, kind of just plow through, everything's going to be fine. And of course, it's easy to say, I want to be in the middle,
Yeah.
but really what I want to focus on right now are like as much concrete opportunities that exist out there. So I'd like to
Mhm.
start with people that are in the profession of SEO, those of us who have been just doing a lot of search engine optimization for years, and I've been in it for about the same time, 10 years. And there's a lot of industries that are thriving right now, and so there's a lot of companies that are looking for new opportunities, new clients, and what they should be doing. Ironically, I don't know if you've seen this, a lot of people that have their existing client base, they're not jumping ship. They're
Yeah.
plugging through. Some of them are increasing. I've seen very little deviation from that. How about you? What have you seen?
Yeah. I've seen very little deviation. I know I'm fortunate to mostly serve clients that are not affected negatively by COVID, some even positively.
Yeah.
I am aware of some SEOs in the space that served only travel industries or maybe
Mm-hmm.
only local SEO, like local businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And those unfortunately have been impacted. So I
Mm-hmm.
do think it does depend on the type of business that you serve. But at least in my
Right.
case, I haven't seen an impact. And what I've been hearing is even for local companies, travel companies, hotels, etc., they are ditching PPC and paid channels, but
Mm-hmm.
I have a quote I've always said for years: SEO happens whether you want it to or not.
Right.
It's like it's like air. It just exists because as long as Google and other search engines exist and there's websites, somebody has to rank in Google.
Right.
And even if there's 70% less people searching for hotels in Boston in this time period,
Mm-hmm.
that still leaves people searching for that. So
Right.
a lot of businesses are ditching PPC and pay channels, but they are still relying heavily on SEO because it's happening whether you want it to or not.
Right.
So I think we're really lucky to be in this like perfect, it's like a perfect seven circle Venn diagram, right? Where it's like,
Right.
the people are, the SEO is still happening. It's online, right? Which is versus things in the
Yeah.
real world are the ones that are suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And we're able to provide services in a way that will help businesses. So I think we're very lucky to be in that
Mm-hmm.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even coming out of this, a lot of companies that were teetering on the importance of SEO and the importance of digital marketing as a whole and online assets and what they're doing with them, I think now that they're sitting at home, they recognize the importance of that investment from a long-term strategy. And so we're getting calls for clients that they've been putting off web design for a while as well, and they're like, okay, now is the time to refresh and let's get this thing off the ground. So.
Yeah. And
Um,
I think there's a few other opportunities that people practicing SEO like ourselves can be aware of that I've seen.
yeah.
I've never in the past had a client ask me, "Hey, do you have some like by rote tasks that we can sort of offload or delegate to other people in the organization, like SEO tasks that we can just have people do?"
Mhm,
And I've had multiple clients ask for things like that. Things like,
mhm,
rewriting meta descriptions to improve them, or adding alt text to all the images, or optimizing all your images, or going back
mhm,
to content and cleaning it up with Hemingway app, like all of these
mhm,
things. And I think what's happening is you now have these companies that have their entire, digital workforce now at home. And people are realizing how much more work they're getting done at home and how much extra maybe time or bandwidth they have for things, or maybe things that they were having that were eating up employees' hours when they were in-house, like meetings and
Mm-hmm.
commuting, are now they have available to be given tasks to do. And so
Mm-hmm.
we're in this interesting place where, like I said, I've now had not several, but at least 3 or 4 clients ask for things like that. So I think
Sure.
as SEOs, a way that we can be thinking ahead and providing value to our clients
Mm-hmm.
or our companies is to come up with and create maybe a series or set of these by rote things that we
Mm-hmm.
can proactively send to clients. Because, now that I've had 2 or 3 clients ask for things like that, I'm going to try to think and send those to the other clients,
Yeah.
assuming they also have that same opportunity.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very interesting dynamic that's been created that I hadn't really ever seen before.
Yeah.
Usually you're begging the companies to get these things done.
Right.
Or maybe this was somebody running PPC ads that now they're not as busy doing that because they have less budget.
Yeah.
So I think this has opened up opportunities in that sense. And I also am seeing somewhat in a similar vein, in some companies, there's a little bit more dev resources available too. Again, maybe
Mm-hmm.
some people, because they're working at home, they have a little bit more time. But I've been able to get some companies to implement some dev things that have been sitting in the queue forever,
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
bit more quickly in this
Yeah.
time period as well.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a great opportunity. I mean, a lot of business owners, I just had an email from a longtime client today who said, "Hey, we have a lot of resources to dedicate to some, like just as you said, some digital projects, and what can we do?" And so yeah, I think putting together some resources, maybe some quick tutorials on things that they can do, especially given the number of pages they might have, or just things that, like you said, where there's always this waiting game, and now's
Yeah.
the perfect time in this next, let's say, 3 to 4 weeks to execute on certain things that maybe have continued to get pushed off. So
Yeah, absolutely.
in regards to industries, people that are in the SEO world and they're thinking, maybe they have been in the travel space and they're seeing a reduction of work or whatever that might be. What are some industries that you're seeing flourish right now in light of all that's happening?
Yeah, so a couple that I work closely with now would be, one industry would be food delivery.
Yeah.
I think that's right now it's a no-brainer, but even 3 or 4 weeks ago, everything was happening so quickly and it was very sort of chaotic. You didn't know what to expect. But
Sure.
now looking back in hindsight, it really makes sense because people are looking towards food delivery options rather
Mm-hmm.
than having to go to the grocery store, risk catching the virus, or maybe because in some of those locations they're on lockdown and they don't want to go out, even if it's an essential service. So food delivery has been really huge. And then another industry that I happen to serve is a company that sells precious metals, so gold and
Mm-hmm.
silver.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is a lot of people in these times, they will invest in precious metals because you have all ends of the spectrum. Some people are like, the dollar's crashing, it's not going to be anything, we're going to be like buying groceries with gold in the future, which I don't think is going to happen. But
Yeah.
then you do have some people that are a little bit more reasonable that do see precious metals as an investment opportunity,
Sure.
when the stocks are
Abs-
wildly jumping up and down,
Yep.
or when other types of investments are at risk or dropping.
Mm-hmm.
And so that business, both the food delivery and the precious metals businesses had to put big banners on their website. Their deliveries are taking longer. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, one of the companies I can mention that I help is Butcher Box, and they sell,
Mm-hmm.
meat delivery and stuff. And
Yeah.
they're not taking any new customers currently,
Mm.
just
Right.
temporarily,
Right.
because I mean, anybody can see this by going on Google Trends or looking in the ads tool. Their brand traffic went up 20 times overnight.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
it settled down a bit. So what we saw 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it is currently April 3rd, I believe. So about mid-March, what I saw across all industries, whether it was up or down, there was like that period of like March 14th or 15th or something,
Mm-hmm.
where everything changed just
Mm-hmm.
overnight. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when the precious metal companies, their search traffic, their branded traffic went up 20x overnight. The food
Mm-hmm.
delivery went up 20x overnight. And that's the same date that other sites lost traffic,
Yeah.
or some negative issues. So it's
Yeah.
settled down a bit since then. But what I've seen is in the industries that have increased, they it hasn't stayed at 20x. but
Right.
they're still way up from where they were before.
Yeah, yeah, and we're seeing, specifically like disinfectant, like cleaning companies,
Yeah.
playground equipment needs to be disinfected, schools, everything, so there's a big jump in traffic for some of those companies and requests for their services,
And I've
and
got a few other, like I shared some tweets the other day. So if you do indoor bike in Google Trends,
mm-hmm,
that has shot way up. So
right,
I worked for years with a website called Art of Manliness, which is a
mm-hmm,
funny name,
yeah,
but it's very, very well-known blog, super high quality content. It's not like the bro type of manliness.
no,
It's like
yeah,
very
yeah, I know,
like
yeah, it's a good
decent.
website.
Yeah. And so, but I still have access to their traffic. And, again, I don't think I'm sharing anything that would be a surprise. He has a post that's called the prisoner's workout, right? Which is essentially
Mm-hmm,
like a body weight at home, no equipment
yeah.
workout. And that post, I think I got one of those alerts. It went up 1,500% in traffic.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you're a content creator and you have the ability to maybe kind of change course a little on topically what
Mm-hmm,
you're doing, obviously
mm-hmm,
shifting towards anything that has to do with how to do it at home. So I
mm-hmm.
was like just getting curious because I was sitting around yesterday going, I haven't had an espresso in like 3 weeks. I'm just making like mushroom coffee here at home.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I said, I wonder what the behavior is there. And I went and searched how to make a latte at home in Google Trends, and that has shot way up as
I'm
well.
sure. Oh,
So
I'm sure. Yeah, yeah. I've
yeah,
seen how to make your own, hand sanitizer, how to buy a cow, just just
how to buy oh
how to
yeah,
buy
yeah,
a cow. Yeah, yeah. People
yeah,
are looking like, okay, how do I get my own meat and not have to leave? Just strange stuff. So it's been interesting to see some of these search queries just kind of shoot out. Oh, of course, how to cut your own hair, right? Like
yep,
a
yep.
lot of those. I don't have that problem. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, if I'm still stuck here in a month, I'm gonna have a serious issue. Um, so
Uh,
and it was funny when I shared that tweet, other people chimed in. One person pointed out office chairs has really increased a lot.
yeah,
Virtual private network actually has increased a lot.
yeah.
So I'm aware of some people and also work with a company that I can't name that is one of these software comparison sites.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody knows, what's his name, the guy that does SEO for G2, who's been in my podcast, whose name is totally slipping my mind right now. Um, he shared some really interesting statistics around what software spaces a website like g2.com is seeing an increase versus decrease in. So if you can
Mm-hmm.
imagine all the remote video, and virtual software and all that kind of stuff with remote communication, e-learning, distance learning, all the software that powers all that stuff is obviously going way up as well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so any
yeah.
company having to do with digital communication is in a very good place at the moment also.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure owning stock in Zoom would have been, nice ahead of
Yeah.
time.
Hmm.
Yeah, they've shown some great jumps. So it's been interesting to see that unfold. So we're obviously using it here. So okay. Well, I appreciate that. That's great. That's a lot to chew on there. So let's kind of turn the tables to, and we've talked about this before this, but business owners who now are starting to see the importance of their digital assets. And anytime I talk to a customer, I really want them to think about their digital space as if it was an asset.
Yep.
That it's not just an expense on your bottom line, but it should be something that when you go to sell your company, it's actually generating revenue, and it's an asset to include in that. And um, so there's new people that are now entering into the conversation that have been maybe on the fence for a long time. What are some things that small business owners can be doing now to prepare themselves for, you know, 1, 2 months, 5 months, 6 months down the road?
Yeah. And when we're talking about small business, are we thinking like a local business
Yeah,
that
I'm
is
thinking.
relying
I'm
on?
thinking the ones that really have been hit and probably putting off investing into their own websites. And so
Yeah.
those ones who have probably taken the biggest hit, some of the companies obviously that have been investing in SEO are, like you said, even though search traffic may have gone down, they're still ranking well. But there's a significant amount of companies that I think that just have not taken it seriously, that now recognize that that's not really an option. You have to do something.
Yeah, and I think just to set the context too. So first of all, normally I don't do local SEO. So
Right.
I'm going to
Yep.
speak a little, but on the other hand, where I do, I think excel at SEO is this sort of strategy. Like, what do you do in this sort of situation? So
Yep.
I think with that said, I can offer some good advice
Yeah.
for people in a local SEO situation. So I'd say first of all, now is a really good time to, like you said, invest in your digital assets. So for even a local company, the mistake I see all of them making is they're putting so much content and effort in Facebook, Instagram, the
Hmm.
social media platforms.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes you can't even find an updated menu from a restaurant on their website. You have to
Totally
go to
agree.
Facebook feed. Invest in your website.
Yeah.
Now is the time to really realize that you need to own your own platform and
Hmm.
stop relying on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter as your channel of communication. So
Yeah,
invest
for
in your
that
website.
that's a really great point. Let me just elaborate a little bit further on that. One of the problems too is they're not thinking through, is my buyer actually engaging with purchasing this product on those
Right,
platforms? So
right.
they're investing a lot of time, energy, and effort into, I mean, we've seen companies that, even, in things such as like engine repair, large engine, small engine repair, whatever it might be, and they're pushing really hard on these social media sites, but very few of their buyers are actually there, and they're not going to make that buying decision typically on Facebook.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Not that,
having your,
yeah.
I think of Facebook and all the social media platforms as, it's like I make the analogy sometimes. It's coal versus solar power, right?
Hmm.
So when you're on Facebook, it's not a renewable resource. You post something and it goes away. I mean,
Hmm.
people can go to your feed and scroll through and try to find stuff, but your
Hmm.
website and Google and search traffic is like solar power, because when you create a website and you rank for SEO and you have content that live there, it's much more permanent and it sticks around a lot longer.
Hmm.
So just from a pure strategy standpoint, it always makes sense to have your own property where you can be visible in Google, because that's evergreen. The
Right.
one social channel I'll say that's different is YouTube, right?
Yep.
Because a YouTube video can show up
Yep.
years later, but I think most local businesses would be much better at focusing on, first their website,
Yep.
then maybe YouTube if you have video assets.
Yep.
And I think that parlays nicely into my second suggestion, and you alluded to this, but now is your time to be building up your digital assets. So
Hmm.
if you have an employee that you are lucky enough to have some extra funds to keep them on, but there's nothing for them to do, give them a phone or a little camera and have them create photo assets for you or video assets. So you
Hmm.
can get those on your website, maybe do some social media posting, maybe do some video creation, or maybe if you're the owner, do some talking head videos of yourself or walking through your shop or something to use
Hmm.
to promote yourself online. So
Hmm.
I see that as a strategy for local businesses, but also for non-local businesses too, because when you think about all the unemployment rate right now that has shot way up and the people
Yep.
looking for work, now
Yep.
is a really good time to find some extra help that's
Hmm.
probably high quality at an affordable cost to help you create digital assets and digital
Right.
content.
Yeah.
I've been urging all my clients to use that as an opportunity now,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
to take advantage of. So I do think there's a lot local businesses can do. Secondly, in terms of your own assets, you need to really dig into your email list.
Hmm.
When we talk about own assets, that's your channel to guarantee that you can communicate with your clients and your customers in a
Hmm.
way where they're going to see things most likely. And then third, I've been seeing people like Gary Vee out there and everything testing out text messaging as a
Hmm.
way to get people on a list. So maybe now is your time, with if you have a little extra time, to take 5 hours and learn what text messaging marketing is all about
Hmm.
and get your customers in a text message list so you can communicate with them that way as well, especially now in a time where that might actually be really appreciated in a way that
Yeah.
you can stay in touch with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think going back to point two, that email list I've seen time and time again is such an underutilized channel of marketing. So either A, it's not even promoted, or B, it's not even it's there, but there's nothing happening with it. And we're talking, we have some pretty large clients that we've seen that have substantial email lists that never turned around and just tapped into that. And right now, I think is a really good opportunity to reach out to those individuals and see what kind of services that maybe even if you can't sell right now, there could be some things that you could be offering that you could promote at a discount that could be shipped in a month, or 6 weeks or something like that. So
Yeah. And also there's another idea that's just a general business idea that we can couple into websites.
mhm.
I saw, I had thought of this idea, but then I saw another SEO share it, and I can't remember her name right now, but if I do, I'll send you the name of the tweet to
Yep.
give her credit.
Okay.
But if you're a local business where you've lost revenue, you've lost sales, and you need to do something in the meantime, consider setting up maybe a button on your website where people can prepay for an exclusive service or something where they can get your services again to be first in line when you open back up. Like if you're a hair
Mhm.
salon or if you're a dog groomer,
Mhm.
that way you can get a little income in the meantime, but you
Mhm.
can also then guarantee your most loyal, consistent customers a spot for them when
Yeah.
you're ready to open back up.
Yeah, that's a great
And I
idea.
thought that was just a really incredible
Yeah.
idea. And you can combine that with your website by taking maybe a little extra time you have now, figuring out how to set up a little button on your website. I mean, there's so many services now. You can
Oh,
do
there
that
is.
easily
There
with
is. Yeah.
plugins and Squarespace and,
Mhm.
a PayPal button. Figure out a way to get people to buy that online. Use your
Mhm.
channels of communication to make people
Mhm.
aware of that. And I think it's a great way where you can maybe, that could help you get through this really tricky couple month period.
No, yeah, those are great tips. I think all of those can be implemented. I think even to the point of seeing all the affordable uh, options that exist out there for hiring people, for bringing people on. Even though we're at a crunch, there's some different creative ways that you can look at, bringing somebody on your team just to write content or whatever it is. So
Yeah. And
yes,
I think if you are, yeah, and sorry, one more point too. If you
yeah,
are, I mean, obviously the food companies have figured this out where they're all offering takeout and delivery, which I think makes sense. But if you're any kind of company where you can sell any physical good or digital good, now is a really
mhm,
good time.
yeah,
If your service, is there one thing that you can sell that's a physical or digital good that people would pay anything for? That's a
yeah,
really good place to put your time and energy into
hmm,
now. And then if you survive and things open back up, you'll have an additional revenue stream that maybe you wouldn't have had before.
yeah.
So
Yeah, no, that's great. And a lot of people that are doing the information marketing stuff are seeing a big boom right now because there's a lot of
yeah,
people that are at home that are going, what kind of new skill can I learn? So maybe if you are a business owner and you've learned some type of thing that you do on a regular basis that other people could possibly engage in and want to learn right now would be a nice time to do that.
yeah. And here's an idea: if you're a mechanic, um, and you can't offer services right now, offer either pre-recorded or live training or teaching about what it is that you do, and offer that to maybe people in your town or anybody on the internet, really,
Yeah.
that might want to be a mechanic themselves, that's
Hmm.
also sitting at home, not able to go to a shop to actually learn or
Hmm.
go to their vocational school or whatever it is.
Hmm.
That could be win-win-win as well. I mean, get 10 people to sign up, offer that at a really affordable rate, maybe $30 for an hour where you get on live and you show them how to like change a belt or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, maybe they're sitting at home with their car. Like there's so many things you could do. So I think getting into education could also
Hmm.
be a big win-win-win. If
Hmm.
you're a baker, teach some people how to bake. Do a
Hmm.
live session where like you're teaching people how to bake your like most popular cookie at home or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I
think a
think
lot.
yeah, no, that's a great point. I don't know if you remember this, but there was this company, or even if you saw it, was a company in Germany that sold cheese, and they had this
Mhm.
live show that went on for a couple. I think it went on 2 to 3 weeks. Every day for like 2 hours, they would go live. They had this camera, like a setup of benches in the back or shelves, and they had like wheels of cheese behind them. And they had one guy looking at the computer, and while they were live, you could hover over the cheese, click on it, order what you would want. They would say, hey, Gary from Detroit just ordered, 1 pound. They package it right up, send it out. So I think there's some creative aspects where you could even do a daily Q&A if you're a mechanic and say, every hour from 11 to 12, I'll be live answering your questions and just building that
Yep.
good rapport. There's some really good opportunities to just invest in your community right now. So,
Yeah. And then the last thing I mean, you could probably tell I'm one of those types that's very optimistic minded. So I just see opportunity everywhere, despite
same here.
I'm
Yeah.
aware that there's a lot of hardship going on.
Yeah.
But I think another big opportunity that does exist, and I actually have a good PR friend, his name's Dimitri, and he runs a website called justreachout.io.
Hmm.
The PR opportunities when you're charitable about it, and I think you heard me talk about this in my live YouTube thing,
Yep.
don't be a jerk and be that person that's just trying to like get links or PR opportunities. But
Hmm.
if you are truly trying to be charitable, there's a lot of PR opportunities now that will earn you attention, awareness, links, etc. So you can build up your equity in the meantime. And then when you're fully back in business, maybe you'll rank better than you did before.
Hmm.
You know, so I think if it's anything like donating to local businesses or volunteering or helping out or like anything at all, just make sure you publish a page about it on your website so people have something to link to.
Yeah.
Because that's the mistake a lot of people make. Again, they post it on Facebook like, hey, we're going to donate, you know, to this charity or whatever. And then they get no long-term equity from that. So
Right.
I would just say, if you're being charitable, make sure to publish something about it on your website.
Hmm.
And then you can also, like, now is a good time to be a resource for reporters and
Hmm.
journalists, because everyone and their grandmother is doing a story about, you know, what it is to be like a X business in X location. So
Hmm.
I'm sure all of your local publications would love to hear about you. You know, if you're
Hmm.
like the person running the hair salon, what's it
Hmm.
like for you right now? You can tell your
Hmm.
story.
Hmm.
It's a great way to get awareness and kind of create a win-win as well.
Yeah, no, that's really great. Well, I appreciate it. Last thing, you're a beat maker, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's a really interesting caveat to this whole thing, and you've been doing that for a long time, and
Yeah,
I
I've been a musician for, yeah, since I was 5, but I really
yeah,
got into beat making and production in the last few years.
yeah.
So,
Are you
yeah,
doing anything with it? Are you trying to sell any beats, or is it just purely hobby?
I am. Yeah, I am. In fact, it reminded me, somebody just contacted me yesterday that I need to email them something. Um, I've been posting my beats on a website called beatstars.com. And I
Okay.
do also post a lot of my sort of works in progress and kind of like me playing live on Instagram. And my beat name is Beat Sculptor, which is
Okay.
a tribute to my dad, who's a professional sculptor. So,
Oh, nice.
you know, a little hat tip to him there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I spend a lot of my extra time producing and making beats. And I was a professional musician for years, but that was like performing live and teaching music lessons. So this sort of new world of producing and trying to sell music online is a little new to me.
Yeah.
But it's super fun and exciting. I've been a hip hop fan since I've been 10, you know, so
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah. Same here.
really like, yeah, it's been my go-to style of music since I can remember.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, if people want to check that out, you can go to my Beat Stars page and look for Beat Sculptor, and then check it out on Instagram too.
Hey, that sounds good. Where are some other places people can get a hold of you?
Yeah, in general, Twitter is a really good place. So it's DAN_SHURE on Twitter. That's probably like the good starting point
Hmm.
if you want to follow me or like get to my website from there. And then also you can check out. I do post some things on LinkedIn as well, just
Okay.
under my name there.
Yeah.
And then the podcast is Experts on the Wire. So
Yeah.
got like over 100 episodes of interviews with people like Rand Fishkin, John Mueller from Google, Martin Splitt from Google, all kinds of
Hmm.
people in the SEO and digital space there as well.
Awesome. Well, Dan, I appreciate it. We're right on the 30-minute mark, so I won't take any more of your time. But look forward to seeing some of your tweets in the next coming days, and look forward to chatting soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.